thank the gentleman. The chair now recognizes Mr. Higgins from New York.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The issue of operational control is obviously very important. A lot of time was spent here talking about resources, human resources, the importance of federal agencies, state agencies, and local agencies sharing information. I don't think enough has been said about infrastructure. And Chief Fisher, you had mentioned it a couple of times in your opening statement once and then in response to one of the questions here. I represent Buffalo and Western New York. The Peace Bridge connects Buffalo and Western New York with Southern Ontario. The Peace Bridge was constructed 83 years ago. The population of Southern Ontario in that time has grown by over 300%. The Peace Bridge, when it was constructed, consisted of 3 lanes. It still has 3 lanes. They use an alternating lane system, so 50% of the time you're down to 1 lane. It's the busiest passenger crossing at the northern border. The importance, I think, is to balance security and safety with the free flow of commerce. As the chair has said, Canada is our largest trading partner. We're friends. The president, in his budget, included $2.2 billion in his proposed budget for land ports of entry. The Peace Bridge is a priority as far as we understand it. Could you just talk about the importance generally of infrastructure toward the goal of securing the borders and finding that balance between securing the border and not constricting the flow of goods and commerce from either the northern border or the southern border?
Congressman, thank you. I'm going to attempt to go a little bit outside of my lane of expertise within U.S. Customs and Border Protection and answer your question. I don't necessarily think, and I've heard the Commissioner say this before, so I think I'm on solid ground, that as we look at the ports of entry in particular, that we don't look at security and the legal flow of goods and commerce into this country as necessarily a balance. I don't necessarily think it's a zero-sum game. In other words, if in order to increase the free flow of commerce, we have to somehow give up security and vice versa. What we try to do at the ports of entry, probably even more so than in between the ports of entry, is we try to find out as much as we can in advance of a crossing at the port of entry, to spend less time about that and to spend more time about those things, people and goods, that we don't know about. And I think that, recently with the signing and the commitments between both governments in Canada and the United States, I think, CBP is going to be actively engaged, as we currently are, with our law enforcement partners and government partners to figure out how we do that, to make sure that those ports of entry are having the most economically viable passage of people and goods through